Loser goes home, a winner goes to Place Bell or Place Bell, depending on how you want to say it. And we'll be playing in front of the crowd.
Alright, how do you solve a problem like Theme Park? Theme Park has been around a lot of this tournament. We've had tastes of it from a lot of teams, a lot more than you would have expected, I think.
Well, yes. I mean, we knew we were going to be seeing a lot of different maps, right?
Yeah.
It's always a bit of a good treat to see maps that we usually do not see in Best of 1.
Yeah, Theme is a horrible Best of 1 map, but an interesting Best of 3 map.
Yes, exactly. And talking of which, it has actually played 15 times so far. It's going to be 16 now.
That is how math works.
Total of 183 rounds and roughly a 60% winning rate on defense.
Nice.
Now, if we compare that to Villa, that was a 52% defensive win rate. And if we compare that to Clubhouse we just had, that's going to be 57%. So this is the most defense-sided map
of all of them, I assume.
Actually,
of every single map?
Well, I mean, Oregon and Skyscraper are basically equal.
Yeah, basically isn't equal.
They are equal. I mean, they all are 59%. They just have less plays. There's less of a...
fine. But I think that's the reason. That's the explanation of why it isn't a common Best of 1 map, is you're sort of agreeing to be on the back foot, leaving it all the way to the end. You have to be super confident. And because of getting in this position, it's not specifically that people hate playing Theme. I think it's been around long enough that people are a little bit used to it. The changes to the meta over the past 6 months to a year have added a lot of cool ways to hold it and adapt on it. However, it still has that overhanging idea that for some people's money, this starting site, this first site, is one of the toughest to attack out of all of them.
Yes, it is definitely a tough one to go at. I mean, if you just look at some of the attacks we've seen, it often just becomes a bit of a Hail Mary, right? Because they aren't quite able to open up. They need to open up, so you just go through the 2 doorways that are there, and that just doesn't work out. So yeah. But that's also how teams who excel at Theme Park excel at Theme Park. They're able to attack throw. They're able to just put up their attacks in general. So whoever is going to be coming out on top of this first half is probably going to be in a good position to become the winner of this match, especially since BDS is starting off on the attack. If they find 3 or 4 rounds, I'm not going to say it's over, but it could just as well be over.
And the best of all of the Dutch folk on our talent.
All right.
Oh, sorry, Easy. Sorry, you know.
I'm right here.
Anna's given us a very fantastic statistic from the backboard saying BDS have their shared best attacking win rate on this map with 73%. So, they are a threat on this opening half.
As I was saying, it's how you differentiate yourself from your opposing team. If you are good on your attacks, and if you find 3 or 4 rounds, you will be... Well, not quite vibing, because it's still a lot of stress, because if you lose, you go home. But a bit closer to vibing than the team that's currently behind at that point. So, as the drones come through, they will be taken out momentarily by Forest, if it does persist. There'll be 2 players of Astralis currently a little bit offside to prevent the top of Dragon to fall quickly. C4 will get rid of that first drone. It's not going to be picked up by the Pest. With a quick and aggressive swing to go through, and Shaiko, he's taking the ground instead.
There he is, able to swing on the back. They had the bait with the drone, looking for the next. They're holding onto the vault, just misses the movement, leans back into the engagement. EFAT gets caught out close. Shaiko cannot quite get the full bite to J9 on the back end, but as the wall is going to turn into more of a dangerous obstacle, can he be as obstinate as that will be? J9 is removed. And the breach gets slightly repaired and replaced. The Lems is cutting off the rotate, just mistimes it. Some of the things that fell apart for Astralis was not quite getting the full bite on those rotating players. There's at least the end of the down problem with Spiff actively droned out on the back. They need to return towards the site itself. They cannot just keep handing bodies, not even to the problem, but away from where the problem needs to be solved.
Yeah, that's it. Like, a lot of the bodies were actually up top, which isn't the side eventually. Like, you are going to be banking on the fact that it will fall at some point. The attack is going to get it in their hands, but even if they do, it's not going to be the end of the world. Now, Iconic, after he got shot by the DMR ones, he fell back towards the drug lab. He's just going to be hiding there now, see if he can, you know, become a bit of a problem later on, where he just suddenly pops up in a bit of a flank and hopes to strike true. The thing is, if BDS completely ignore that side of the map, and if they just straight up go for an opening near Dragon, there's not much he can do. He can fall back through split, but at that point, the side might have already fallen.
Oh, barely any time here, and Ranchiro going down. They've got to see if they can break themselves through the side. Bride and Alems, they find one apiece. Iconic is above, drops into the fight, cannot quite get the connection.
The right call made there, by the way, for him to not shoot the player that was down. Yes, it's a living drone. Yes, he might be looking up towards your hatch and calling you out. But if you shoot him, they know for sure that you're coming from that position, that area. But still, 1-0 for BDS. They attacked throne room successfully, and that's what we just were talking about. If you can attack this one with success, you're going to find yourself in a good day.
It was rough there. You can see maybe expected the fight to be a little bit further. It swung around to them. We don't know if, you know, the movement was to try and get to the player. We don't know what was being watched. It could have just been the call from the down player. He's right on me. Get him.
Yep.
Either way, right place, right time for BDS Air, and almost the right place for Iconic to be in. The first round is BDS's. They still rotate the side of Astralis. They're going to head their way upstairs and get themselves locked into bunk instead. Gives yourself a little bit more of the stretch, and you don't have to worry, you know, about holding above the side. Obviously, there isn't such a possibility, but you do still need an extension towards a similar place that we had on the previous round, the sort of swing on Cash Dash Store, the top of Red Dragon stairs.
Initiation office, which is of course the other side up on that top floor, is often that extension you will be going for. Something we saw BDS do, I believe it was on their defense, is just close off those rotations once the push does start coming from that side, because they just didn't want to deal with, you know, the free space to be gained. Likafak might have been closer to a kill there than he might have imagined. He'll be going up on that roof quickly. He's going to be, you know, exploring some of these hatches, some of these windows, start firing through them. So it seems like the majority of BDS wants to take control of Top Dragon first, and again, move in from this direction towards the rest of the map horizontally. Criticality, not really that important here.
They have some pressure underneath as well, but it's the spray on the door, J90. He does a lot of damage to EFAC. There's some movement. Iconic does have an impact. He can try and cause some sort of destruction. It will draw the focus. He hasn't found anyone, and he gets out of there. You know, you get awkwardly sort of locked in on the back end, the pair of them. They move themselves. They can be a problem on another day. They're more than happy to roll into that. As I said, you have a bit of an extension, but there's the lock that you talked about. Don't let them pass from initiation.
Both of them.
And from that side, yep, both sides locked. And BDS, they've got some grounds, but now they've got more things to do in it.
At least they can start hammering down on the site now, and I have 1:40 to make it happen. If you look over on the right-hand side of your screen, there's no problem with opening up these rotations again. They have 2 exothermics in pocket for Bride. There's nothing on the other side to stop it from happening. So, you know, probably will be opened up just as quickly as they were shut down. Brude's just quickly checking the corners, making sure there's actually nothing out there. Gonna be placing the exothermic now. It's gonna be creating a huge hole. Actually might extend over into the break room and close or open up that wall as well. So BDS giving themselves width.
Bit of a rebuild. The keeper barricade comes out pretty much instantly afterwards. Shuttle suffering half of the end of a grenade, and otherwise, still, no Astralis players have been moved out of position, moved out of place. There was the breach towards the kitchen wall that you called. They have a bit of wiggle room, and the smokes will buy them some time to rotate onto the kitchen windows themselves. Is, well, the first take for Iconic. Hops out at the bottom of Arcade and gets the kill onto EFAC.
It's what they need. They need those entries here, because if you let BDS just attack, they know exactly which angles to slowly work out. And just look at the amount of vision that Ranchiro has right here. Break room is basically completely open. There's no safe space to go there. But the one worry BDS have right now is the 30 seconds left on the clock. Diffuser in hand as Alems just swings through. It's going to be able to drop one, and suddenly it all goes to BDS.
I don't even understand. They decided to try and take the fight on the side. Iconic can't get his way back up the stairs. And from 20 seconds and nothing to 10 seconds and a technical, I was going to say 4 versus 1. It's a 3 now. They're down getting the plant down. They finish off one player. The pistol.
Oh, no, no,
How do you wait? J90 also got the Capcan kill. It's J90's round.
Let's see the Capcan kill for a second there. That Capcan really did save him because he waited for like just a little bit of time. And then the diffuser came through.
Well, we're going to talk about that in depth. Who's going to talk about that too? The timeout called by Astralis. Let's listen in.
Last I'm going to talk. Listen. I'm not saying this. Like I said, I'm not going to lose this fucking game playing lessons. We're going to lose it. We're going to lose it. We're going to lose it fucking playing what we want to play. Start moving. Don't just stand by. You know, they're making the same shit. It's going to be probably right now. The only other thing I think we maybe do is some sightings. That's about it.
I'm going to about Almer.
Dave, take control right here. Don't stand by. That's all right.
On drug, can I just call honky tonk to set up? Yeah. But everything else we're going for. Listen.
See, the one thing that...
From one side of the fucking map right now, guys. Let this shit fucking hang, bro. These guys aren't fucking good. It's only Shaiko, bro. It's literally only Shaiko with the gun skill right now. Make these guys clear us out. Let's go hockey knock right now, alright?
Conquered.
Listen, they might really need side on this. No, not on your
What's looking now? What's looking now?
Yeah.
No. We're playing aggro, bro. Let me hang, bro. Listen, I'm dropping.
I was going to say the one thing that I do appreciate from a Fabian tactical timeout is that he always speaks so loud that you can just hear every single word he says. You really need to be listening in here.
Yeah, as long as the players can hear it, I suppose.
Of course, I'd like to have the headset and the mic, so they should be able to hear.
Yeah,
that would be yes.
Yeah, some people just aren't loud speakers.
No, not true. I mean, not blaming them. I'm just saying it's like we need to like really listen in because the mic doesn't always catch it.
Yeah,
like the mic is on the other side of the table. Compared to the coach. So, yeah. Either way, we are headed towards lab. It's a side on the first floor that's not thrown, for those of you wondering.
What I wanted to talk about there was why does it hit a timeout? Well, let's be honest.
They probably...
It was huge from J90, but they had lost that round.
Yes.
That's the purpose. A death to a Capcan, running away and turning their back on the one remaining player. The death and the diffuser was perfect timing. You're not going to have that if J90 doesn't make the moves he makes. No one's questioning that. But at the same time, for what was going on, it was a comedy of errors at the end there for BDS.
Now, Astralis called out, we're playing aggro. We are going aggressive. We are taking these fights. We are making it difficult for them because apparently only Shaiko is currently having the gun skill to match them. There's still kills on other team members as well on the side of BDS, but there's no denying it. Shaiko, he's always on point. He's always the one just tapping off those heads like it's nothing. It's just so frustrating to play against.
Forest hanging around on the workshop, on the swing round on the back end, hoping a fight drives into his direction. There's also the support of Gong, and, well, now no support from Cash. They rotate out. I think they realized the pressure was coming in a bit too hot and heavy, and there might be some spray up from underneath. They get a call. There's the motion just to get rid of the drone whilst they know they can. They rebuild the wall a little bit, and they're just drawing attention. They're wasting time. Think about how quick you would want to make that beeline, that route through there, and how long it's now taking BDS. They've crouched in. The calls come together. They've got themselves surrounded. Shaiko's got Spiff. He's looking for the next follow-up fight onto Iconic. But Iconic has otherwise left, headed down Dragon.
He heard it though. Oh, this got caught off there. Link Effect will fight Forest. So at least they still have a reply on the back of the phone call that came through. But now they're also aware of the fact that someone could be around in the throne room. So that's one player accounted for, or at least the general area of where they are. Next phone calls come through, so definitely wanting to be moving on the back of this BDS as Shaiko's going on a bit of a hunt, trying to figure out where his target went.
Well, he's got himself tucked, I believe, on the opposite end of Split right now. Yep, juiced around, holding on as the fight happens onto Cafe Ranchiro. It's caught in a dangerous place, and there's the catch onto Iconic, the end of it, and suddenly two back here. Shuttle and J90 are able to find one apiece, including Revenge on LMs. So 40 seconds, 3 versus 2. They have a lot of time. They've got to make sure they don't get caught out by the vertical here, don't get isolated by the players starting to force some of this motion. The grenade close on the wall doesn't quite get the bite that they wanted it to, but they still have one more, and not a lot of time. BDS, they're sort of living in a world with a bit of time pressure here, and at this point it's only going to work a little bit more in their favor. I mean, last round it was no time and it ended up not their rounds. Here, it's turning into potentially a similar story at some point. It doesn't matter if you're in a 3 versus 2. If nobody's on the floor of the site, they've now just got to try and run in. They weren't watching the clock. There's an easy pickup. The second is going for the plant, and that was just confusing.
I don't know what to say. 7 seconds on the clock, and then people start moving towards the site. It's not like he could have dropped through any hatch there. You needed to be running for literally 6 seconds. They get in, they basically instantly need to plant.
I had the word stress. I heard them sort of talking about the stress of it. You know, they just didn't go.
I don't know. It's like
you're trying to piece it
someone
together.
missed the call. Like,
it's one of those moments where you're wondering, it's you know what the call was. Was there the right call? There obviously wasn't because things didn't go the right way. And you're sort of talking about, okay, soon they'll go. Okay, they're running BDS. Come on. Oh, the round's over.
Time's over. Yeah.
And again, if the first one was a gift from the combination of J90 going off huge and getting himself in the solid positions and moving and sort of going with the luck that was offered to them, at that point, the two remaining Astralis players were kind of just probably sat there thinking, where are they?
Yeah, that's it. Like, you're just sitting there. It's like, is this, like what kind of a round is this that people are just not knocking on the front door, even though they had a numbers advantage? Like, if they went for a trade game, 10 seconds earlier, they could have been successful there. Like, send a drone in, there you go. Now, as Spawn Peak will start things off, J90 will find the Lems. It's going to be the Dokkaebi gone, no phone calls to come through, and as well as one of the top fraggers currently on BDS off the board.
Iconic. He gets an idea of where somebody is, and he's going to slink his way a bit closer. They also have some support, and they have the man advantage. They're kind of happy to press it. Forrest wanted the fight. Shows up a little bit late to catch EFAC in his rotation. So instead, the hatches the windows. They'll start to get some pressure from across the bow of Cafe. They've got a lot of attention towards the top of Dragon as well. Renshiro is looking for Spiff and looking to cut off his rotate, but he's otherwise pulled himself just a bit further back and then actually stepped right back into the Dragon window. They're going to rebuild it with the Keeper barricades and help put pressure onto Cash door. Shaiko sees ahead, cannot get the connection.
A minute has passed, and again, still a lot of pressure coming through here. Oh, the opening from the sledgehammer. Spiff almost losing his life twice there, but getting away alive. J90 finds a second. Shaiko taken off the board. And they will fall back because they don't need to stay around right now. It's throne room. They have a 2-man advantage. You just wait now. Let them come to you. There's nothing they can do. You will have flanks upon them as well. You're not all playing on the site. There is no utility to clear out every single room for BDS.
This is it entirely. Astralis, they have a double down man advantage.
Oh, what?
J90 has
banged through the wall.
Yeah, been absolutely removed from the round there, but at the same time, with the work he's done before, it's still a good bit of growth. EFAC is looking to see if he can get one more, just cannot get the side of this army. The rotate back round. Astralis still have a player on the back end of the top floor, waiting and watching, and they're more than ready to come in with the pressure rotate later on. You know, tucked in close for the fight, and they aggressively leaned in to try and get the bandit charges. 2 of them caught out by Spiff swing there. And you know, you assume if these rounds keep going this way that we're going to get a BDS timeout because you've got a couple of questions.
There it is.
Let's let it hang, bro. Let it hang.
Instantly go for the timeout.
Well, let's hear in.
Allez les gars, je casse en 3 rounds, go se remettre dans le match les gars, remettez-vous en tête que c'est la dernière map du BO, et remettez-vous en tête que là si on perd, c'est fini. Donc on se remet dans le match les gars s'il vous plaît, c'est le 6, reconcentrez-vous dans la game, on remonte 3-3 les gars, il faut qu'on mette un max de rounds pour qu'on soit tranquille en défense, ok?
Moi je sais ce qu'on va faire, Là vas-y, vu le premier round, je suis très carré, full setup, reculé. Là ils ont complètement changé, full trap ultra gros. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait qu'on ce genre de truc? Fast direct BP. Donc go de sortir de Lightning, go sortir du Lion, go sortir de la Marou. 100% les gars, et on se fait confiance, on le fait. Ils vont être aggro à toutes nos inserts. Sur la lab, ils étaient 4 côté dragon. 4.
Ouais, je vais faire ça, je pense. T'as raison.
Donc go faire ça.
Quand on dit push, les gars, c'est push. Hein.
Quand on dit push, c'est push. On se trust.
Y en a
et au
aucun,
on se revenge.
Les gars, y'en a aucun qui s'arrête, les gars. Y'en a aucun qui s'arrête, les gars. Vraiment.
Trust, revenge, and let's aim for 3-3.
I think it was conversation ahead as well.
Conversation, yeah, talk.
Talk.
I heard s'il vous plaît, which means please.
Please talk.
Please talk, yeah. And then after that, you had Likafak taking the word, actually. Like, he's been very vocal for the team. And he started saying, like, just trust in the push. And now you're looking at your screen and you're like, okay, I can see trust in the push.
Yeah.
I can see what he's going at, what he's aiming at, what the hammer.
I mean, to be honest, think about the opening 2 rounds. There was trust in the push. They were swinging breach holes to get fights and then succeeding. They were winning these weird engagements. And to be fair, Astralis realized that, stopped it and said, you gotta not be scared of the gunfights with these guys. It's only Shaiko. I guess that's a debate for you to have with French Twitter. And the fans of BDS, but at the same time, it's worked. Look at the motions they're making. Look at the shots that they're hitting. It doesn't matter who you're up against or who you're shooting against. You should always think you can beat them. Otherwise, you've already lost. That is being proven now, and BDS, they got to try and remember that themselves. They've got a lot of grenades, a lot of pockets of gear here to try and go for something a little bit short, sharp and sweet, but they need to remember that they are a good attacking side on here, and they want the 3-3-half.
So what we're aiming for, and trust in the push. And let's see how that works out. Now the Amaru has been picked out. You see the Lion coming in. Ooh. This way. Vertical angle to be created as well. It's going to be playing that with the MP7. Door behind him gets opened up, so Shuttle decides against staying there. Instantly moves out, and there's the push we were talking about.
I mean, trust in it. They're inside the site. They dropped out through the wall. Spiff had a punch hole, and he's able to get a lens, but EFAC does find one in the meantime. Shaiko gets J90, and it's a close fight on the door for Renshiro to just finish out. There's a rotate coming underneath him from Lab. There's only one on the site itself right now, and Spiff, he's able to get the first. Huge take. Gives the game away where he is, and he's probably desperately crying out for a teammate right now because he is not in a good place. Sees the back end, almost gets the punch kill before Forrest locks it in, and Spiff gets it down to a 1 versus 1 with Forrest having the last play.
Allez, forcez la chance. Allez les gars. Ayez confiance en vous. Go.
Likafak's not happy. Starting to become even more vocal now. Such a weird round ending there. Like, just I mean, I get why the gunfight was taking place. You thought someone was going to be stuck in a corner, the grenade was there, the gun was there, just he managed to slip past both and then find someone with his back against the wall because he was fighting someone else on your team. I mean, it just worked out well for Astralis right here, and they find themselves full 1 up. They did what they needed to do on their defense. They managed to find those 4 rounds to at least honor the statistics.
One more potential here, and you cannot doubt that there are mistakes and problems happening here from BDS. It should be BDS rounds. The fact that it's not is a credit to Astralis taking risks and being rewarded for them, but also that sort of deficit of BDS get themselves into these positions that would have fresh tweeting, this is a BDS round, and then things fall apart.
Exactly. I think round 2 was a very good example of that. This one, you know, was a bit more close in that round, but still well played by Astralis. All we can say about it. We're able to just perfectly punish whatever BDS is tossing at them because there is that little bit of a disconnect. They managed to, well, wedge themselves in between. Shaiko has a drone. Is he aware of the fact that the Izami's out there? Phone call goes off. That is going to be moving in for a quick check. Oh, he's going to get his drone shut out. There it is, yes. At least they know of Spiff's location right now. The question is, how are you going to be dealing with it?
Recently energized. You can see Astralis, they're more than happy to play against these guns. As we pointed out before, you're looking at the site is Drug Lab. You generally couldn't be further away than the approach coming here from the drones out in control room and the pressure elsewhere. They're direct in above. EFAC holding out, waiting for someone to swing into him. Shuttle is sort of popping some of the angles. There's potentially the rotate on the top of the stairs, but it's awkward to get yourself through onto the fight. There's the keeper barricade, and there's the Lems getting one, pushing the back in towards Likafak, who's still just waiting, hoping somebody comes to try and offer them support. They've rotated through the site, through the wall. Will they creep their way back round into EFAC's gun? It's slow and it's steady and it's cautious. And no, they've actually opted to go a bit further on. Another moment of timing there.
The time coming through, Shuttle. Moved away! What a shot through the wall. Takes down a EFAC. Shaco instantly responds though, making sure that the body count stays in favor of BDS. But there's still someone hiding. Do they know? The drones are not coming through. This is going to be a free flank for Iconic. He is moving in. He will find one in the diffuser. Instantly goes up to the mess and he gets the second, but not the third. Lem shuts him down.
2 versus 2, 50 seconds, and time was the weird end to the round last time we were here. Before this time, BDS have one less player. It's got to be down to Alems and Renshiro versus J9O and Forest to try and bury them inside the side itself and then go for the push. They're making some space, shepherding it. There is still a C4 in the pocket as well, whether they want to try and use it against the soft and risk the fight, or wait until the plant tries to tuck itself in. That grenade rolls to nobody, and a bit more damage is done. A slight rotate round. The watch on the opposite end. 30 seconds have passed. Now they move. Fair bit sooner than the last time. The first reveal of the first player, the grenade, all the way tucked in close, but it's all time that's ticking away. It's a bit of a firing line, and they have a great split push set up here. Close in on the plant. The other side of the soft, Renshiro, he's getting through the wall. He's going for the fight. They've got to get the kit. They can't quite get the fight, and J9O is safe.
Parties are starting, but they're being told to calm down because the job is not done yet. They know what kind of a team BDS is. All they need now, one round to get back into it. Suddenly they are flying again. It is just that that J9O clutch in round 2 somehow hurt them so badly. Just haven't been able to get back into the game fully.
I mean, there's a disconnect here with BDS on their attacks there, whether it's the sheer weight of what they had to do and what they have to do on this map, the fact that it's this or it's done. It's such a sort of stress, and you can see how close they're getting. You can see the sparks, but you can see the fizzle, you can see the slip-ups, and Astralis fantastically punished them and made the best out of a bad French day time and time again. However, now they've got to see if they can try and get it done on their attack. It's a much shorter distance than probably they expected. You can see in here that they wanted the 4-2. They've got one better. They only need 2 more to continue on to the main stage.
That's it, 2 more rounds, and they find themselves in the right spot to be. Plasbel, where everybody will be coming to, well, I assume also cheer them on, because Astralis, it is a team that is just so likable, right? You only have to listen to their pre-game chants and you already become a bit of a fan of them, because just the energy they bring. And the energy they are bringing right now is what is killing BDS, because they're starting to run out. They are starting to, well, have these bigger and bigger disconnects to just happen. People miss drone. People forget to drone.
Forest, quick in onto Gong, washing underneath the hatch, not quite caught out. They've got the thatch, so they should be able to get the wall open without too much of a problem. And pre-fire on the door, hoping to catch the punches, but otherwise nothing more than the call that they're coming through. There's Renshiro though, finds the Thatcher, finds some of that cover. You can still get the wall open with a shot hole above and a grenade. Do they know about this fight on the balcony? Yes, Spiff gets the Lems, takes him out of the mix. The Solace is gone, and well, so is that man advantage.
Yeah, quickly taken back. Luckily for BDS though, it's going to be the Thatcher that's off. It's going to be making it quite hard to actually open up, as Likafak is forced to fall back now as well. J9O goes on a bit of a chase, hoping to do that through Drug Lab, and actually might be gifted it, because there is the Goyo just sneaking through. He's not checking it! He gets the kill as well. Likafak, you should have checked your window.
Had a mistake there at the moment. J9O in the perfect place. Now that man advantage has swung its way back over to the opposite end. The grenade will pop that Goyo canister early, get rid of it, so it's not a problem, not a thought for later on. There's another grenade that gets rid of the Keeper barricade, and it should get rebuilt. There it is, right on the door. But the rotate is coming from the opposite end, Astralis. They've moved over. They're doing some of the pressure on the top. They've got some of the attention paid towards the hatches. They're going to hit the back end of the site and yellow itself, and you know, you can get pretty good bits of damage, whether it's the change of not having the Thatcher. As I said, you can still, with that one remaining grenade and the 3 flashes to burn it, get a wall open. Just might not be the wall that you maybe initially wanted. Spiff smashes the board. We can hear the walls falling. Another keeper barricade. BDS still just waiting for this to come to a shove.
Oh, Ranchero takes a lot of damage right there. He's rebuilding the side the entire time, but with this, they've given some safety to a player. If they wanted to go into side, a split. Ranchero and Shaiko both pick one up. Shaiko does get taken down, brings it to a 2-on-2. Shuttle with the diffuser is on the ground now, and that means that BDS, all they need to do is just sit tight, and they'll be able to win themselves around. Ranchero swings and gets the kill. 2-5.
That's French energy.
Thank you, well done. That's what they're shouting in French.
Thank you, well done.
That's what we need.
They're fighting for the consolidations right
Those
now.
kind of rounds.
They're just gotta keep it explosive here.
And Astralis is saying, let's keep this explosive. Because, I mean, rightfully so, because all you need to do is just break through ones and you're finding yourselves on 6. And then the pressure is going to be increasing so much more onto BDS. Grim. The bees. Now you can make bee jokes.
Bees.
Not during maps when there's no Grim.
If they stick it, but this is a curious lineup. The Grim alongside the Blitz on this side. I mean, there's not much more explosive than Blitz. You're looking for a direct line. There's not a huge one that's offered because, sure, you can get into Cafe pretty quickly.
Yeah.
However, from that point onwards, well, you've got a two-sided wall. You've got to try and force your way. Okay, you could maybe go up arcade stairs. However, there's a whole overhang to make your way up. And you can use the shield for cover, sure, but that's not really what you want to do. You want your elbows on Oregon. You want your sort of quick, short drives and dives in. There's a couple of narrow corridors, and yeah, that's why I think maybe they assumed somewhere else.
Yeah, just went off completely of the entire plan.
It's just a bit awkward.
Don't really want to go for it. I think maybe on a bottom floor hold, it is more successful than the top.
Oh, 100%.
Nature.
A quick hop in and suddenly you're in the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, here we have BDS getting their first round in a while, though you probably think that they should be doing slightly better than they are. Astralis, they're still only 2 rounds away. They're still in a very good position. And if BDS were under a bit of pressure before, finding themselves on map point would potentially be devastating. A quicker bit of a breach. They're able to shoot off the X-Kairos. They're making things awkward on here. They might go for a bounce grenade round on the side. The keeper barricade's going to stop that. It lets them have a rotate out. They knew the pressure would come to them. They can only really play that trick once.
I really like seeing keeper barricades being used to allow players to rotate out, just in general. Like, close it off, someone runs past, now you're suddenly in a safe position and no one was there to actually stop you from doing so. It saves you that HP that is oh so valuable in some of these gunfights. And the full rotation of Astralis has been called. All of them now will be finding themselves on the eastern side of the building. Will potentially be trying to fight through horizontally that way rather than directly keep on knocking on the sides. Because all you really need is to have that control. It's a bit of a waste, but I mean, it's just flashbangs in the end.
So they're going to get the breach open. They thought that maybe they'd have to play the Thatcher against it, but I think they might just be, yep.
Just to be sure.
Just to be sure, and also obviously there's a meat jammer there likely. However, EFAC, he's found his way around the back. He's looking for one. The second can't quite get there in time. Spiff. Luckily for them, Shuttle was able to get the breach down. The C4 is a little bit late to the party, but Lems finds J90. Spiff does find Renshiro. They're still trying to push the drive here, Astralis. They're still saying, well, we started, let's finish the motion, and suddenly it's an even hand and a 3 apiece. They're watching for the rotates on the back end. They've got some of the clarity in towards the site itself. They're waiting for BDS to lean themselves into one more engagement, and they have plenty of time too, but time is a precious resource. The pre-fire on the angle, the swing round, the rotation, and just slipping by.
Waiting for Iconic to rotate up to a spot where it can be helpful, and he's doing that right now by going over towards Cafe. Meantime, I believe we have a repel on as well, so really a 3-prong attack coming through. The grenade is not going to be taken down, leak effect, but does a lot of damage here.
I mean, that's it. He has been under so much pressure. You can see Astralis is hunting him. Iconic. He's not going to be able to take that without just taking the damage, which he can't afford right now, but you got to make sure you're confident in the engagement straight after. Spiff is in the sight. EFAC removes Forest from it, and there's suddenly just Spiff left alongside. Bride on the back end. Doesn't have the diffuser, doesn't have the fight. BDS.
Merci, bien joué les gars, super, super.
If it was Bride turning his back to him there, it would have been potentially done. But he chose to fight and he came out on top. 5-3.
I mean, you want to do like drug right now?
Well, I don't know if they get the choice.
I don't know how they get the choice. I don't think they do.
They can go for the labs if they like.
I mean, they could take it.
It's a take.
Is it going to help you?
I mean, you never know. You never know if you've got a player that drives your way up there, and instead of taking Cafe and putting pressure onto that end or doing the work onto Cash, you could maybe go in lab and then push up the stairs and do some damage on the opposite end. But a quick change off the Candelas, and the crossbow opted instead for some remote control damage. Spiff staying on the Yana, trying to find the fights. It is, I'm not going to say nail biting, but it's neck and neck, that's for sure, across the board. Everybody is putting in damage, everybody's putting in work. More than just Shaiko can gun, but that includes every single person in the server.
Over the first half, BDS has been able to pick up 4 entry kills. But they only managed to pick up that one round.
Yeah.
Shows you what kind of a mental state they were after that J9 clutch, just unable to, well, really convert those rounds due to Astralis just fighting back, not giving up when they're beaten, and we do not often see
6-12.
Yeah, I was going to say 6-12 SD this one, because this one is suppressed, I believe.
Yeah, you do not often see that gun. Fair enough. We'll see if they can try and get some work out of it. If you're in the right place, in the right corner, maybe, if you're going for some damage. But we've seen Astralis very happy to take these long firefights. You have to be cautious, because when they're not trying to take them, they're definitely trying to weigh them up. They've got multiple Astralis players happy to go for individual engagements. Efak, he was hoping somebody would be putting pressure onto the window, but the Roteros are being driven in from a safe height. That one rolls on through.
He might actually try and go for a C4 if another RC Rotero starts rolling down. Oh, that's for his door, so he's going to have to run back. No safety for him there. Spiff quickly entering the arcade stairs, being shut out from the mezzanines. Forrest and J9O explode on them, though.
That's it, over the back end, they swung in. Alems, he's trying to bite some of the bullets back, and suddenly it's a 3 versus 3, some team damage, but they're able to win it out. A 6-12 kill, but it's a 2 versus 2. Out of nowhere, we find ourselves once again in a showdown with a little breath and a pocket of space. Shuttle knows that there's a player tucked on the corner. They have a 6-12. They're hit by a goo mine, and they have to try and move themselves further away. They've still got to try and get this kit down. That's the problem. Efak, he has the C4. The RCE Rotero just going to drift on by and give the read on where he is, and they pull themselves back elsewhere. Will he try and go a bit further around? He's going to go for the rip, the tear, the throw. The catch doesn't quite get on the other side of the pillar, but they get in a bit closer. Brede with the pistol cannot quite shut down Shuttle. And they're going for the plant once again. They're sort of baiting the motion here. There's one in control, but Astralis, they have so much time. Efak's just hoping that he can force the engagement, sees the end of one, expected that to turn into a fight with 2, cannot get the swing round, and now it's a post plant. They can have 2 guns up at all times. He's going to find it very tricky here. With only 10 bullets left in the clip, the reload has to be called. Both of them have put pressure on. They're either side of the pillar. They are forcing the fight, the slight motion, and he's still just struggling. There's one. The second's on his left. He has 26, but Shuttle.
Fucking shit. Keep attached for your bro. Keep it close. Shaiko was not ready for the shit, bro. Dude, I just hung on top of fucking.
Dommage. En vrai, on avait trop bien joué. C'est juste que, en fait, le mec qui a trop psychu l'a tout baisé.
Allez, c'est pas grave.
Dommage. On va trop le mettre.
Ouais, go trop.
0-0. Yeah, 0-0. Dead ass, yeah, 0-0 right now. 0 fucking. Wait, deep breath. Deep breath.
0-0. But when you're 1 round away from locking yourself in to playing on the grandest stage of Siege, how convincing can you be to yourself? You want this to be just a game in a park, but I'm sorry to say, lads, it's so far from that. However, you are so close. BDS, they still have to fight this back. They've still got 3 rounds. They've still got an opportunity. They pulled 2 back when they were in a similar situation just a couple maps ago. Can they go the full distance, or will Astralis just prove to be, alongside the pressure of being so close, the one factor that they haven't been able to surmount?
If there was any pressure, it is definitely just increased by tenfold here for BDS. Because it is every single round now, do or die. Win or go home. 3 times in a row. Then you go to OT. That's when you make the difference. And whereas Astralis is going to say, well, they don't start that one off well. That's the thermite gone. I was going to say, they might say 1 round at a time, 0-0. BDS, they know this. They just ignited the fire.
They lose the thermite, but they do still have the Thatcher, do still have the secondary hard breach. Last time they went with a little bit more of a singular approach, and it didn't cost them, but it made the approach much trickier when it came to it. And they lost the Thatcher. Here they have an alternate. They have other options, and they're going to make sure to try and impress them. And impress they do. Explosive is the name of the game, and the word emblazoned across Astralis' front and face, and it's the one that they're trying to bring here to the top of Dragon. The quick throw, the attention paid. They are never stopping moving. The claw won't get the catch. The full bite, it's consistent, and it will at least pop on the second wall, so it does get some of it, the impact, alongside limits a lot of the ex-Kairos now. 12 left in the pockets for 3 pairs of walls.
All you really need is that one pair as the Lems goes down. That's not great for BDS. Forrest, he does go quite down low, but he has that kill. That's most important. Now verticality will be established with these breaching charges to have a better look into the site. See if they might be able to isolate 1 or 2 of these players hidden in some of these spots. New jammer from the yellow stair wall has been taken care of. That means that that can now be opened up freely by the Hibana. The hiding spots as well seem to be safe. Spiff in a good spot here, prone. Could be catching off some feet if they rotate through. Shaiko as well, he's debating. He's saying, I'm going to be changing this right now. I'm going out. I am going to be finding these kills.
55 seconds and the close roll of the grenade to break their way open. They might move behind it. He's so tempted, but he needs the call. The peppered pre-fire on the back end, the breach on the barrel side, and they're in and they're out. Shaiko on the back, Renshiro, but Forrest was already tucked in a corner they did not quite know about. Iconic's able to find the back end on the killer. 2 versus 2, and there's EFAC doing his best, but he's isolated in the wrong end of Drug. They have the kit in the back end of sight. They don't quite have the confidence to go for the plant, but with 20 seconds left, they have to try it sooner rather than later. They're baiting for time. They're watched on the camera. They know as soon as they went for something, they wouldn't really get anything. They're gonna not quite get the pop of that. The call of the Malusi, the swing of the big guns. There's the second. BDS fight for at least 1 more round. 2 left in the divide.
They stay alive for now.
Let's go, guys. Let's go. Come on. We got this shit. Let's go.
And you gotta understand, like, you cannot go for a plan if you're in a 1v3 situation. There is a camera on you. They will be going for a swing, and if one of your teammates is fighting someone else on the opposite side of the map, it is an effective 2v1. He probably didn't know he had the man injured. He thought it was effective 2-on-1 on that throne. Otherwise, maybe a push would have happened there. I don't know. You never know. Until you watch that vault afterwards. 6-4. 2 more rounds for BDS to get back onto. 2 more opportunities for Astralis to lock themselves in for the next round and the next phase of the Six Invitational.
The first body last time was Shaiko, with the peak and the peer down towards the approach, and was able to pull out part of Astralis. You assume that's not going to be a problem that they can sort of play a lot, although we've seen BDS dabble with it from plenty different angles. As you said, the entry statistic has been quite a good one for them. It's just the follow-up that's really let them down at points. But here, when it means more than anything, if they can try and find the back end of it, it's still coming close, and they know this. It was, what, 2 standing and a technical 3 versus 2 there, 3 versus 1. It's these break moments that are never a million miles away for Astralis.
And again, you know, they keep saying, let's keep on being explosive. And the thing with that is, it only needs to stick once.
Yep.
And at some point, if you just keep bashing your head against the door, it will open. Or not, I mean, otherwise it's the definition of insanity. But if it works out, it is just the explosiveness that at some point makes the strongest doors break.
Talking of, the Roteros getting the money's worth and getting everything destroyed and tucked around. We've seen some problems with that late game utility. Look at that though, the quick movement of Forrest underneath. Has 2 grenades, might try and be a bit cheeky with him. But in the meantime, he's managed to get himself very deep here, unchecked. The hatch itself is open. He's Getting the call on the default cam.
Saying, hey, like this is still up, so that is going to be limiting my movement. That is on Nuck.
Is on Nuck.
So could move past it, but you know, starting to throw grenades or starting to shoot is going to give away that game.
And this is what he might want. The bottom of yellow stairs with the grenade hooked up over the top is potentially how you'll often get that, alongside the push and the hold of Spiffs and maybe some attention paid towards Cafe. Lock the player in so they can't get a full rotate out. Spiff with the slow creep, the drone over the top, wants to try and fire on the back of it. They've turned their back to the engagement, but the fight is happening down the bottom. I talked about that grenade. They seem to have some awareness of the Nook, and Spiff needs to try and push with this. He rotates around so he can. He's more than ready and able. Does he know that they've pulled back? He does not. EFAC was sat waiting in the back line, and this shuttle now, he's going to wait for some support to come alongside.
It's just a bit of lack of information there. Drone should have checked out defaults to find out if the player was in there. I'm sure we'll find J9O before Shuttle just gets a free rotation, a double kill as well. And that's going to be the double man advantage now given back towards Astral as they will lose one more. LM strikes with the MK14. The remaining players now coming in from initiation. There is a rotation they can use, but as soon as they do, there is going to be multiple guns aimed at Iconic. He has a single Candela left to make this happen. 30 seconds on the clock. Shuttle, he's low on HP. The camera will be giving away the game, and as the Candela pops out, they need to make a move now because they've just used their last pieces of utility.
They're driving around. He wants the bulletproof. He doesn't have the teammate, and he slipped his way back round. He's onto the rotate. They're watching from the back end. He knows it's on the camera. He's able to find the first. He does not have a lot of time here, and he's trying to isolate these individual fights. Someone died over here. Someone's dying around there. BDS, they are on round 5. They are 1 round away from putting us into OT.
Make sure if you say you're gonna get the control hatch, you get it, okay? Faut juste pas être naïf de la sécurité. Dans la tête. Le seul cheat.
Use your head. Use your head.
Pour moi, ouais, prends ton mid vidé, ouais. Moi, je vais reprendre Aroni, les gars. Drug or in there. Yeah. I don't think rush drug. I don't think rush drug.
Ooh, it's so... Was that a rush round I heard called? Or did he say restaurant?
I think... I don't know. It could have been...
I'm confused now. It's like either I'm going to play a rush round or I'm going to play a restaurant.
Maybe.
Which could be cafe.
Could be cafe. Ooh, it's tense. It's tense and we are still close because every player is firing in this game. There's no two ways about that. And, you know, the fact that when you look across the grander scheme of things in terms of the KD game, BDS are technically better, which really shows how much work was done by Astralis in the first half and how much was sort of lost by BDS. And now they've started to eke these rounds back, but they're still close. There's still these sort of nail-biting moments because I've said many times throughout this, a round isn't over for Astralis until it's over, and we're on the next round.
Attackers are heading out to defuse a bomb.
We're on the next round indeed, round 12. Either we go to overtime, and truly it will be 0-0. Or we will be seeing Astralis be the final team to qualify themselves for Place Belle for Stage 3 at the Six Invitational. Prevents another EU-EU matchup in the lower bracket.
And pressure starts. Over the back end, the break on the control room hatch, the attention paid towards Cash on this side. Remember last time it was the sort of 2 versus 2. They were trying to eke the plant in because everybody died within a blink of an eye because of the fight that happened here on the opposite end. J9O starts with some pressure. The Keeper barricade has its own response to it. But BDS not taking too much of a risk, not trying to lean themselves in. They know those are being replaced, and at that point there's other work to be done, and it starts with Iconic. On the far end, breaching and breaking through the barricades. Prodding, prying, trying to find this grenade over the top. Very well placed, does half the damage to LMs. Not quite the full bite, but again, anything helps. The spray over the top all the way to the back, Forest. Sort of making a statement, the control room is ours. Dare you to swing it.
Just suppressing over there after he got shot so he can make his way back out again. Another grenade is soon to be tossed in. No, it's not. Shaiko took Cash into his own hands, finds the kill, but he's going to get traded out. Spiff finds the return kill. 4-on-4. We continue trading throughout these games. But this is maybe the most important round for both these teams right now.
Iconic takes a chunk of damage. As the pressure might come back in, and there's another rebuild on that window, but EFAC, he might be the next force to either be reckoned with or removed here. There's still this calm, still this pressure. Cafe and Spiff rotating his way back up the yellow stairs, back up towards that corridor, cut the fight. Iconic goes down. There's J9O instantly with one back, and he's pushing his way all the way up towards the site. The ping's on the player, they're moving to the rotation. They're concerned about the loose fight to the right-hand side. Lems, he's under a bit of engagement. Shuttle's going for the plant. Brede, how close is he? They don't know! He's crouched, but there it is, J9O with a triple. It is just a Lems left in a 2 versus 1. The man, the IGL, the noise for the team. 30 seconds to see if he can try and stop this plant and play. They're on the wrong side of the door. They swing and he can't find it. It's a trade! And Astralis to the stars, never gave up, made sure they made the most of it all. And you see it on Spiff's face there. You cannot deny he's been a huge part of this for the team, but to be fair, all of them are the drive.
It is Astralis that will move on. It is them that will be playing in front of the crowd. And the reigning major champions have been defeated. They won club as we expected. They brought it close here on theme, but I cannot help but think that the J9O clutch in round number 2 was the match-defining action that eventually got Astralis to where they are now. A quick celebratory dance before they're gonna go over to BDS and, you know, fist